here a little book that is nearly 200 years old, and it is written in German. So it's a nearly 200-year-old German hymn book. This would have been central in the Lutheran church worship and private devotions. It was printed in 1831 in Dresden, the capital of Saxony, by royal command. And it's translated there by highest command, and that tells us something powerful about how seriously people once took worship, and even in their government. So today we tend to think of worship as music, basically at a church service, but for them it was sacred. It was even ordered by kings. So in this video, I want to look at what this 200-year-old hymnal can teach us about what worship really means. Not just then, but right now in our own lives. So this hymnal was printed by Royal Court Printing Office there in Dresden in 1831. On the cover has the name K.R. Kropf, likely the person who owned it, maybe Francis Kropf. And it was stamped 1850, probably marks when it was gifted or rebound. And the leather shows the gold tooling and just how it was built to last because it was going to be used weekly. So the title page tells us it was published by highest command, approved from the King of Saxony himself. It wasn't just a collection of songs. It was an official worship book for the entire kingdom. Every church used it. Every family recognized it. And it reminded people that worship wasn't just personal, it was national. So you can see when we have good leaders, how that could be a good thing. So in those days, faith and governance were tightly connected, kind of what we might say church and state. The king saw that it was his duty to protect and promote true worship. So when something was printed by the highest command, it carried royal weight, as if to say, our people is going to honor God. And, so while we don't take orders from a king, we do have a higher authority. And so they worship by royal command, but we worship by divine invitation. So a lot of them had to do it, but we don't have to. So God invites us to give us our hearts, our time, our trust, because he is worthy of it. And that's kind of where the word worship comes from. It's an old German word, Anglo-Saxon word, meaning worthship. It literally means to ascribe worth to something, to declare someone worthy. So when we worship, we're saying, you are worthy of my time. You are worth my trust. You are worth my adoration. Worth isn't just about music, it's about value. Psalm 150 says, let everything that has breath praise the Lord. Psalm 46:10 says, be still and know that I am God. Romans 12:1 tells us to present our bodies a living sacrifice, that our whole lives become an act of worship. So whether it's through song, prayer, giving, silence, or how we live our lives, worship is declaring God's worth in everything we do. So, when I hold this hymnal, I think about how believers nearly 2 centuries ago gathered every Sunday and, opened the same book, sang the words of devotion. They didn't have modern sound systems or big fancy bands, just voices lifted up to the same God that we worship today. Their songs reminded of who God is, and it reminded them that worship isn't about preference, it was about purpose. So whether you're holding a hymnal, listening to a worship on your phone, the heart of worship hasn't changed. It's still about declaring God's worth. And it can be done in music, in prayer, in silence, or how we live our lives. So maybe the lesson this little 200-year-old book still whispers today, worship isn't about what we do on Sunday. It's about who we honor every day. So if you enjoy these kind of reflections where faith and history and meaning intersect. Subscribe for more. I'm Brian Hill, helping you grow in faith, business, and life's creative pursuits. Thanks for watching, and remember that worship is declaring God's worth in everything we do.